Okay, can you hear me all right? Zdravstvuyte. Hello, меня зовут Brian from Young Enterprise Scotland. Very pleased to be here to meet everybody from Belarus and Minsk. Ja lubię imaguru. I've learnt a wee bit about some of the enterprise activities that go on within Minsk and Belarus as a whole. I met some of the guys recently in Teen Guru. It was great to learn about the kind of stuff that they're doing, and it mirrors a lot of the stuff that we're doing back in Scotland. Our organisation, Young Enterprise Scotland, as you can see from the top here, inspiring and equipping young people to learn and succeed through enterprise. Our mantra is to think about learning by doing. All right, you're not going to learn how to sell by reading a book. You're not going to learn how to engage with a customer by hiding behind a computer screen or looking at your phone too long. You have to go out and expose yourself to these kind of experiences. So we try to influence a lot in terms of the education system, how we try to encourage that learning activity to take place. And we do it in a number of ways in Scotland. We're part of a wider community that's been developed over the last 5 years, a wee bit longer than that probably, where we've tried to connect a lot of the players, the partners that are working within education, to try and develop the entrepreneurial skills of our young people. We have an aim to become one of the most entrepreneurial societies in the world. We can't do that unless we're teaching our young people how to be entrepreneurial. Okay? So from a quick show of hands, how many of you guys are involved in education, whether you're a student, a learner, a teacher, or somebody that's involved in education in some capacity? Show of hands? Not too many. But you've all been to school, haven't you? Yeah, I hope. All right. In your time at school, a quick show of hands. Did you have any enterprise, entrepreneurial teaching or experiences going on? Lots of not shaking of heads there. Quick other question. Do you think that should have happened? Lots of nodding heads. How do you think you can now make that happen in Belarus? How do we do that? How do we encourage more of that kind of learning and teaching activity to take place? I'm asking you a question. Come up with some solutions, please. Come on. How do we do that? How do you think you're going to be able to do that? Because you're not just going to stand still, are you? You're not just going to decide, you know what, that's it. Our Belarusian education system, that's the way it is. That's the way it's always going to be. That's not very entrepreneurial. We need to encourage more of this activity to happen. And we've used a three-pronged attack in Scotland. Young people, key drivers on this. Educators, key drivers on this. Senior management, principals, college principals, etc. Key drivers on this. They all have to work together. Okay? We have to work collectively together. You're in the young crowd in the main around here, so you've maybe just recently left university or college or your early stage career. You can still influence what goes on back the chain. Okay? Young people have to be the drivers on this because they're the ones that it's actually going to impact on down the line. So if you don't have a body of young people, and I'm talking about young professionals as well as students and school people, if you don't have a body of pressure on the education system to try and encourage that kind of stuff happening, then it's never going to take off. How do you do that? So we use what we call local heroes, but they're entrepreneurial ambassadors. They're the people who are starting up a business or they've been involved in some kind of startup organization as a founder or a co-founder or something. And we try to get them back into schools, back into colleges, back into universities to tell those young people about their experiences. Those experiences could be good, bad, indifferent, complete failures, absolute success stories. It doesn't matter. Okay, the fact that you're going in there and getting back into those classrooms again and encouraging other people to learn that, you know what, starting up a business is a very viable and feasible career option for me, whatever my technical background happens to be. Okay, We're lucky in Scotland. We've got an education system that's quite flexible and going through some good changes just now. However, there's still a bit of rigidity there. Such things like academic timetables and courses and, these kind of things that have to be met, of course. All right? Not everybody's going to start a business, and therefore not all lecturers and educators are going to try and encourage that kind of stuff to happen. However, for that few percentage that want to do that, there should be the option for them to learn more about it. So we do that through bringing local heroes, we call them, or entrepreneurs back into the classroom environment and engaging with that target audience. How can you do that? Start asking yourselves about that as well. How can you guys, as entrepreneurs, get back into the education system and try and influence the kind of stuff that's going on? Because I'm imagining, for the sake of Minsk and Belarus, you want to try and encourage more of the kind of stuff that Imaguru are doing in other parts of the country. Because Imaguru is absolutely a fantastic thing. This is something that I'm going to go back to Scotland and tell people all about, because this kind of stuff does not happen to this kind of extent in Scotland. We've got some good stuff going on, but we have to learn from you guys too. And creating a network of these kind of organizations across Belarus, delivered by entrepreneurs like Tanya and the team that she's got here, to try and encourage more of this kind of stuff happening. Okay? So those are the young people that can influence what's going on. Who remembers your most favorite teacher, your most favorite educator? Can anybody remember them? Why were they so good? Why was that educator so good to you? Why did you experience such a good time with that educator in comparison to all those other educators that you came across? What made them stand out? Was it because they really cared about you? Could you feel that about a good educator? They cared about you. They listened to you. They understood what you need. I remember the first time I really understood what a good teacher was. And do you know what they actually did? They threw a book at me. Bang, right off the head. Threw a book at me. Arthur C. Clarke, Rendezvous with Rama, a sci-fi book. Brilliant. Space Odyssey, that author, fantastic stuff. And I never knew that I could read those kind of books. I was reading rubbish books before that. And then all of a sudden I was thrown a book and it hit me right in the head. Michael Hobhouse, my favorite English teacher ever. And I managed to get into reading. And that was the thing that inspired me to read. You've got to get your educators to throw books at students and make them stand up and give them a spark, something that encourages them to think, you know what, yeah, I could do that. I can read books, or I can go and learn more stuff. So you've got to find those good educators, all right? Our young people deserve more than just a teacher coming up onto a platform and talking at them for an hour at a time. Learning in classrooms is great, but learning outside of classrooms is even better. Learn by doing. We need to go out there and experience and expose ourselves to great experiences, experiences that we're going to embrace and learn about and use in later life in the workplaces that we're going to go to, or the jobs that we're going to create for ourselves and other people. We also have to consider the fact that those educators are influencers of people above them, because they're telling senior management and they're telling decision makers in colleges and universities and schools, you know what, this is how you teach. This is how young people can learn. This is how young people want to learn. Let's try and change what we're doing. Now, we don't need a mass change in our education system. You need incremental changes. Do stuff extracurricular. Do stuff that's in addition to current courses. Change your assessment models a wee bit so that more practical stuff can be encouraged and supported. We do it in a lot of subjects already, so there's no reason why you can't do it in subject areas that have traditionally been more about exams and writing assessments, okay? Most people learn a musical instrument not by looking at a YouTube clip or reading a textbook. You learn a musical instrument by playing a musical instrument, okay? That's childhood learning. That's childhood learning that we need to apply into later stage education, which I think is something that we can all try and influence. But you can't do that by standing still. We've got to go out there and try and encourage more of those kind of things happening within and outside of the classroom. Okay? Takes me on to my last point. We cannot do this without the strategic decision makers helping us. all right? Because you're going to be knocking your head against the wall by trying to encourage enterprise entrepreneurship to happen if that college principal is just basically saying, no, you're not going to do it, all right? How do you influence that person? How do you decide that, you know what, we need to try something different? Well, you can do it in a number of ways. And actually, a famous phrase that we use in Scotland quite a lot is, seek forgiveness, not permission. Do you know what I mean by that? Seek forgiveness, not permission. If you carry on doing good stuff, if you carry on doing enterprise, entrepreneurship within a school, even without any kind of acknowledgement from college principal or senior manager or whoever, right, you'll be doing good stuff. At the end of that good stuff, there will have been an impact. That impact is likely to be positive because you're increasing their skills, you're helping them develop some, for example, they could be making some good money for the school or good money for themselves. The positive impact will far outweigh any negative mistake that may have been made. Okay? There's always a way of convincing somebody else that this particular activity was successful. All right? The person started at this point, they did this activity, this was the positive impact that occurred. The more of that kind of stuff happens, the college senior management are going to think, do you know what? Yeah, that is a good thing. Let's change it. Let's do that, more of that. And that's how we grew the stuff that we do at Young Enterprise Scotland. We started off with a program 5 years ago called the Bridge to Business program. It was delivered in colleges, technical colleges, further education colleges. Around about 2,000 students that we used to participate with in every year across all of our programs. We reach now about 15,000 students per year delivering what we do. Okay? We had to get early influencers. We had to get college principals on board to help us to do this. Because if you didn't get that kind of influence, you're not going to get further support down the line. Because a lot of the stuff that we do, we're a charity, so a lot of the stuff that we do had to be supported through our funding councils and through the government. So in order to influence what else is going on there, if you're having the college principals telling those people, this is good stuff, senior management are participating in that, then you can gradually move that along, all right? But you're not going to do it by sitting still. So college students, university students, school students, get involved in as much enterprising entrepreneurial activities as possible. Educators, become better educators. Throw books at students. Get them something to really encourage them and spark an interest in what they're doing. And eventually they'll encourage more people to participate. And then finally, college principals, senior management, and academic staff, the more you get on board there, the crescendo can be built. The guys in Team Guru that I was speaking to, they were fantastic. From the ages of 13 to 19, the kind of stuff they were talking about learning, it was phenomenal. You know, the questions they were asking, the interest they had, and you could see it in their eyes. I had a full hour with them in the workshop, in the library downstairs. And I was so impressed with them. And at the end of the session, I said, without a doubt, this has been my favorite moment in Minsk. I'll appreciate that so much for years to come. Their eye contact was fantastic. They've got a natural ability and want to learn, okay? And if you can go into that society for the first time with new people and start to engage in that sense, I know there's going to be good things happening coming out of Belarus. We would love to see you in Scotland. Scotland, as you know, is part of the UK. I've managed to get to about 14 minutes without mentioning the dreaded Brexit, but inevitably it's going to happen at some point. However, stop laughing. However, all right, Scotland is open for business. We do want to see more partnerships happening across the European region and internationally, but we would very much encourage more people to engage with Scotland as a society and engage with our entrepreneurial ecosystem that we have over there. We would very much like to welcome any members of the Belarus Enterprise Society to come and visit us and invite us back over to Belarus in the future. And we strongly hope that any further involvement we have with you guys will be sustainable. We want to come here and open our doors for as long as possible. All right, so thank you very, very much for your time this afternoon. I hope you have enjoyed Imaguru. I certainly have, and I appreciate the invitation. But thank you for your time. All the best.
Thank you, Brian. This applause is for you. Thank you. It was very good. Thanks.